Guys, Kelly Gorsuch doing a little bit of a undercut here today on Lee. Right now she's got kind of a shattered movable bob. We're gonna work our shape, we're gonna work this undercut a little different. I'm gonna utilize her front hairline and bring it all the way down so you won't see that it's undercut from the front. We're just gonna work down with the parietal ridge going down into the occipital bone, really give that disconnection and let it hang over top and like give some movement and some depth to the haircut. Probably gonna work over her bangs a little bit farther over just to give this a little bit more depth and character. I'm gonna work in a little motorcycle gel as my cutting agent. It's an R&Co product. Just gonna leave it soft, pliable. Not a big fan of wetting the hair back down and putting product in it before I finish the hair after a haircut. So this allows it to start to take its shape and give it some life and allow its texture to pop as I'm working the hair. Saves me a little time too, so I'm not going to complain about that. Typically pull this up and lay it flat on my hand, and I did this beforehand dry, so it tells me like what it's going to look like once I do that sectioning pattern. So that's about where I'm going to do it. Dropping it down in a curved pattern in front of the ear here, and that will come out as well. Just to keep balance, I'm going to go a little higher on the right side, which is her strong side. And this sectioning pattern is the most important part of an undercut. If you don't start off with a good sectioning pattern, it will most likely not be a very well executed undercut. Once again, just using that exterior hair there in the front to keep it from being undercut all the way through. And then all these sectioned off. Now, I'm going to leave her bangs. I'm going to kind of force these across. So I'm going to go ahead and let it start air drying in that direction. Alright, let's get to it. So I'm going to razor this for choice. I don't want to go all the way down. I'm not a big fan of buzzed out undercuts. They're really hard to grow out. just working that down with the shape of the head. And then in the back here, I'm going to actually graduate that more on the bottom and just keep it in a little tighter visually. All of these patterns are basically just vertical. I want it to all, as I travel through this haircut, I want it to basically be at the same length. That camera out of the way, bro. Same thing on this side, just tucking in once I get under that occipital bone. I'm going to come back and really detail this dry, but I usually just take off any like super long pieces just in case the guest asks me to like look at the back, or also it just helps me visualize the whole haircut. So I'm not constantly staring at one little spot that's longer than the rest. So my balance is pretty good here. So we're gonna go with it. All right, so now that's just kind of establishing the length. I'm gonna tighten this up, I know that. I know I'm gonna tighten up around the ears, but I'm gonna leave that, the razors, just to get that hair off very quickly. And she has pretty thick hair, so I'm gonna go in with my scissors and really chop weight out on this. But I'm gonna do that when it's all dry. All right, I'm just establishing where I want my part. If they wear it on the left, there's absolutely no reason to ever cut their hair in the center. There's nothing worse than seeing that. I see clients that come in all the time whose bobs and G-bobs and undercuts and stuff are all clearly cut on the center line, and that really just doesn't work in real life. You're always going to have balance issues, so try to pick out a part that's as close as possible to what you're going to be wearing. Now there's a couple ways to approach this. We can approach it by cutting the whole top in horizontal sections, just slicing that weight off and picking it, but it's so far away from natural fall that it's kind of guesswork. So what we're going to do is kind of come down here from the side and really attack it horizontally from the side. And if you see from the profile what we're working with, this is important, so I'm making decisions on what my length is going to be the whole way. Even if we had discussed, which we didn't, even if we had discussed being at chin length, I can make a decision right now that I think it's going to be a little bit prettier longer than that, and I would just go ahead and do that. I wouldn't try to hit the mark just because that's what I said I was going to do at the beginning. If it's clearly going to look better a little bit longer, it's better to leave it a little bit longer and just explain that to the guest. gonna break this up quickly with the razor and really drive her off and get to the real cut. Finish cutting with the dry cutting that I can really control. So right now I'm just kind of using the most important tool in my arsenal, which is my eye and the mirror, and just kind of attacking the shape from there. That's the one thing that people can't really copy, is your own personal style. So I put a lot of my own visual eye into these haircuts. I'm just checking balance along the way. The only instruction I was given was to keep her bangs long, so I will be doing that because I listen to them sometimes. No, I take it very seriously. If they tell me a length, I keep that length. It's really important. You know, length is usually the only thing that clients get nervous about. You're never going to be able to explain to them how you cut the interior of a haircut like in a consultation. So really the most important thing that I can establish with them in a consultation is their length and where they want to end up. Just kind of slight diagonal backs here, bringing it down, just to really be able to put some separation in that. Super heavy on this strong side. So you can see it's starting to like really separate now.
So it's more like...
And I'm controlled. I'm like nowhere along here has there been any guesswork. I know exactly, I'm holding so close to natural fall, I know exactly what I'm going to get when I cut. There's nothing that kind of bothers me more than when someone takes a piece of hair that needs to be cut right here and pulls it all the way up here, pulls it all the way to the side to cut it. It just doesn't tell you anything. You're just following a haircut and you're just praying that it works out in the other end. And if it does work out, then use it, but I'm not an elitist. So that's as far as I'm going to go wet. I'm going to dry this off and then we'll touch it up. So this is lead dried off. We kind of did a bit of a diffuser and then I kind of blew through with a little finger diffusing or finger blow drying and then a little brush in spots. But now I'm just going to attack kind of the underneath first because I really want that base. And so I'm just going to pull this up and clip it. And I'm only going to do it section at a time because I don't want to leave any marks in the hair. So I'm going to go pretty fast. So the whole reason we leave these undercuts a little longer now is so the client has an easier time growing them out. When it's buzzed, it's a pretty miserable grow out for the guest. So, picking that section up with my blade and kind of the direction it's going to fall, really chopping up that. It's got pretty thick hair, so I have to really put in some deep chunks to get any separation at all. And fret not, you will not see them in their hair. You will just see separation and softness. Her hairline is a little less dense on the right than the left, so I'm trying to just blend those together so they look pretty similar. A little negative space here in the bang, so when it sits back, it'll sit back and stay. It's not gonna affect my length at all. It's just gonna allow it to sit back kind of carve across and then just stay back behind the eyebrow, which is important because that's where they wear it so they can see. Adding that separation in, I'm taking the color into account, so I'm watching my color. If there's areas where it's too light or it's too dark, I'm really trying to like cut in those areas to like make sure that the color looks great, even as it's coming through. Even though she has an appointment on Thursday, so she'll be able to correct that color, but she still has to wear it for the next few days, so I'm going to take it into account for now. And then that colorist will do a really good job of kind of assessing where they're at the time, and if she needs something to go dark or blonde, they have that opportunity to do so. Just really carving into that shape. So it really starts to take the shape of that kind of vision I'm seeing for it. And I'm going to get a little lower eye level here so I can see the back. I really love the texture of the back of her hair here, so I'm just going to accentuate it a bit. Now, I don't want these like long bits kind of sticking out because once they go flat, they'll be past the length, so I have to like take that into account. She's gonna wear her hair flat. I don't want that to look bad. I want it to still feel good no matter what. The thing that's so hard about doing an elevated undercut is that you really have to take into account like whether or not the guest is going to be able to wear it on a daily basis when they're not overly styling it like we do. So she just like lets this air dry. I don't want it to do something weird. I want it to like look good still. For someone as straight as her hair, that means lots of carving, lots of texturizing, lots of separation. So with this haircut, for me, a personal pet peeve is when you see people that have it all in like one straight line. I mean, usually it's like a little higher. It's not as low as this, but like if you have it all in one straight line, it's not moving. It's just not going to look good most of the time. You know, unless they're wearing it up. If they're wearing it up, then you can do whatever you want, really. All right, so I'm done working her shape now. I'm just gonna add a little bit of spray gloss. I'm not gonna overly style this. Guests tend to have a want to put their hands in their hair for the rest of the day when you cut their hair off, so try not to put anything overly styled in it. Just gonna use a little spray shot and kind of just finger it into position.
Is that Glimmer?
This is Glimmer. Yeah, I'll Glimmer by Edit. Glimmer by Edit. And this is the beautiful thing about this cut is you can really just tuck pieces behind the ear and you don't have all that missing hair there. And just to make it look asymmetric, you can just tuck the whole thing behind the ear. thanks guys, this is my progression on the undercut, and I'll just let my work speak for itself.